Hey, I'm Sebastian. Strong men, strong women, this video is for you. This is a technique-based video where Scott from East Coast West Coast Gym is going to show you how to actually deal with lower back pain and how to flip a tire when you're actually dealing with lower back pain, because we all know a lot of us will compete despite having some aches and pains. That's just the nature of the game. So Scott's going to show you how to do this. At the very end, we'll flip back into my screen and I'll show you some of the things we do to actually settle some of the low back pain so you don't have to have this strategy all the time. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Scott at East Coast West Coast. Today we're going to show you how to flip a tire when you are experiencing back pain and why you're experiencing the back pain. So when I flip the tire over, I'm going to go to flip it. If I shift my weight over using the driving off the one leg and the knee, because I'm standing on one leg, you know, your back, or your QL, your upper glutes might flare up because I'm shifting my weight over. I'm basing off of one leg and using another side to create, you know, knee flexion and hip extension to get the tire to flip over. So if you're experiencing this kind of problem, one, Dr. Sebastian will help you with how to prime or how to focus on restructuring your upper glutes and your lower back to to get to the point where you can flip a tire again. However, if you want to change up your strongman technique to get off of your lower back, you're going to base off of both legs. So you're going to use what's called the strongman or the tire flip one time. We call it East Coast West Coast. So I'm actually going to power clean it. I'm going to set up the exact same way. But as I go to drive it up, I'm going to rebend my knees just like a clean, and I'm going to get underneath it and catch it with my elbow. So it's a clean, and I'm going to dump underneath it into like a catch position on a clean. So I never actually have to shift my weight over to one side. The last technique we're going to show is when the tire is really heavy and you're like, oh shit, I might kill myself trying to flip this tire. So in that case, I would start by putting the tire on the ground. Let's say that it's a 1,000-pound tire, 1,200-pound tire, and it's just slightly out of your range. So my objective would be to base with my one leg forward. So I'm here, this tire is really, really heavy, and you can barely get movement. So I'm here and it's coming off the ground slow. I want to get it up and then shove my leg underneath it, just like so. Now I want to keep my core tight and I want to keep this leg flexed. Now from this position, I want to keep my hands on the tire. Now I want to inch it up my stomach slowly. Pressure into it, go down, up, inch it up. Go down, up, inch it up. Go down, up, inch it up, and then get my elbow underneath it and flip it over. Common problems I've seen when you have an oh shit situation is a guy will have the tire on their leg and then it will collapse their front knee in because it's so heavy and they can't stabilize it when they're trying to create that flexion to extension, okay, when they're trying to get it inched up. So you have to maintain a rigid core. Keep your arms straight. Another thing is guys try to push it up here. Keep your hands underneath it to stabilize it. If your hands are up here, you're not going to be able to stabilize the tire. So you have to keep that pressure as you inch it up your stomach. Once you get that last pop, get the elbow underneath it and then press it over. And that's kind of how you deal with that oh shit situation when you see a tire that's a little bit out of your range. So, but I've seen guys blow their knees out on this. I've seen guys blow their biceps and their Achilles tendon. You still want to use as much muscle as you can. So definitely, you know, use that low position to get that tire up. And once it gets to the point where you can flip your leg forward, base just like you would on a split jerk, create tension, and then stabilize the tire, and then inch it up until it's standing up. So that's Scott, East Coast, West Coast.
Okay, so now that you see that you can get around the back pain when you're having the tire flip, wouldn't it be nice not to have it? So there's a lot of things that you can do. We kind of break this into a few steps oftentimes, but for the sake of keeping this video quick, I'll try to only show mainly one or two things. The first thing that we can do is just what we call a position of comfort, all right? It's very simple. There's a lot of things that will actually reduce with positions of comfort, such as back, sciatica, knee pain, and so on, you just don't provoke it. And a lot of times, a lot of you will know what this is because you've done it before. You're like, well, my back hurt after that tire flip or during it, and I felt like I really needed to, like go like this or something to feel better. A lot of times people will do that generally after competition because they're smoked, or they'll lay flat on their back, such as so. All right, they just try to leave a puddle of sweat on the ground, depends on what type of lifting you're doing, right? And so find a position of comfort. It's going to sound very vague, but what this does is it allows you to use your body as an asset, use pain as an asset. And so what happens with pain is that your body will tell you what's right and what's wrong for it. And a lot of you will have very different reasons for your back pain associated with doing a tire flip. So just find what works best for you. Some people find sitting in this position is very helpful. Sometimes people find out that doing, again, this deep frogs pose. I'll make sure I'm on camera. Sorry, no videographer today. So deep frogs pose works for a lot of people. Sometimes laying flat on your belly, just as so, works really well for a lot of people. And if that works, you might consider just doing it more often. Simple, right? So do it a couple times throughout the day. Do it between events. This is usually the easiest thing to do. Now, if you want to make things a little bit more complicated, we can do something that will elicit a little bit more of the ability to stabilize on the stance leg. As Scott mentioned in that video, part of the issue is we're going on to a single stance leg. We're going from a two-footed to a single-footed. And so what we can do is we can actually stiffen at least the hip here. We can do the other parts of the limb too, but we can stiffen the limb where the energy leak is, so the leg is not supporting us. So we want to make the leg start supporting us. And so we can do a simple one called an accordion. We've showed this in some of the other videos that we do before. This one specifically targets a little bit more of the side here as well as the glute. You'll get more glute if you bend your hip a little bit more. If you don't want to get the glute for whatever reason, you will go into like a side bridge or a side plank, which is what we've done for a lot of people. Again, depends on the reason why you're doing it. But let's just say in this case, Scott has an issue with his hip and he's having a power leak there. His glute never really turns on, and standing on a single leg is a little issue. He's had hip issues in the past and all that kind of stuff. Let's just say that, okay? And so maybe in this case, this is going to be his standing leg. And so we're going to almost simulate a standing leg type of situation. We're basically taking this leg as being his kick leg, right? And we're keeping it just right here. And then when he goes back and down, such as he's going to thrust the tire over, this is like that kick, okay? Okay, so I'm just reaching and reaching. Now, how hard you push here is really up to you. This is just really easy to for choreography. But when you go back here, this is actually a really nice position to start the preliminary load from. I like to think about this foot here, or at least what the foot is doing in the early stages to let you see what we're trying to do at the knee, all right? If I took my hand and forced it in the floor right here, you'd see my knee would start to float, meaning I'm not pushing down on my foot to make this movement happen. So if you just kind of have this space right here, imagine like a big fat dollar bill there, like a rare dollar bill. You want to smash it into the floor, and as you go through this movement, you just don't let go of that dollar bill. What you'll notice is your left butt cheek will start to really smoke. It's going to be pretty challenging to do. And a lot of times what we'll do actually between competitions for some people, between events, is we'll actually have them do an exercise like this. It's pretty challenging, but do it in a safe way that's not painful. It just is effortful. And it starts to stimulate that left hip to work better, so it eliminates the power leak at least momentarily. So that's something that you could do. Obviously check with your doctor first, but it works very well for us in our office in Costa Mesa. So subscribe to the channel. Watch out for more videos like this. We're going to do more combinations of coaching as well as exercises in this type of fashion here. Think cool stuff and then think correctives. So I'll do correctives and we'll do some other cool stuff with other coaches around. So see you guys next time. Subscribe, like, and share.